just applied to become a flight attendant. I went through the application process. I got my CJO. I got a training date assigned. We are ready to go. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my next location. Once again, my name is Priscilla. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share your thoughts on today's video in the comment section below. Once again, spam the comment section below. All right, so let's get into today's video. If you have been watching my other videos, you would know that I recently got hired by a major US airline company and as a flight attendant. So I have been sharing my journey because I know that a lot of the airline companies are open for hiring right now, and I wanted to share my journey specifically for the airline that I applied for. Okay, so you will see in the title what the airline is. However, I know the process is similar or mimics other airline companies. So whether you're applying to Spirit or whether you're applying to Southwest, American Airlines, it should be similar. Okay, in today's video, I want to specifically focus on what you need before you apply. My other video focused on the steps to getting hired. So I explained like the interview process, online assessment, in-person interview, event day, all that good stuff. So my other videos are more so the journey towards your CJO, which is a conditional job offer. In today's video, I want to specifically focus on the basics, like what you need even before you decide to apply. Are we on the same page here? Okay, so essentially we're focusing on the nitty-gritty, what you need even before you decide to hit that apply button, what you need to know or what you need. Okay, so point number one, you need to be at least 21 years of age. My airline company is a US-based airline company and they want you to be at least 21 years of age. I cannot speak for other airline companies right now, but I believe it's similar, okay? So if you know an airline company that requires you being at least 18 years of age or being 18 is good enough, please let me know. Drop it in the comment section below. Drop the airline company in the comment section below because we are here to help each other out. We're here to get others who are interested in becoming flight attendants or to give them all the information they need. So if you know an airline company that doesn't require you to be at least 21 and 18 is okay, then please let me know in the comment section below. All right, so point number two, you need a valid passport. We're going to be flying here. If you've never gotten a passport before, please get a passport ASAP. And mind you, because of COVID is the excuse for everything being slow these days. So because of COVID, there are delays in terms of the processing periods for making passports. So please make sure you get your passport ready. The airline in question that I applied to, they specifically want you to have a passport with about 28 to 30 months prior to expiration. And mind you, if that is not at the time of applying for the job, it is by the time your training schedule is offered to you, your passport should apply in the next 28 to 30 months. At least 28 to 30 months. It can be more. Let's say you apply for the role January 1st of 2023. In between your online assessment, your interview, and your event day and getting your CJO, the training date for you was set for March 1st, 2023. It means by March 1st, which is a training date, your passport's expiration date should be 28 to 30 months from at least 28 to 30 months from March 1st. Point number three, you should be able to speak English. There are some airline companies that would allow you to take like comprehension exams and stuff like that just to establish the fact that you can read and write fluently in English. It doesn't have to be your native language, but you have to have a high level of fluency in it. See, these points are not complicated. Everything here is very simple. This is like the basic of the basic, what you need to know even before you start. There are some airline companies that hire language specific flight attendants. There are some airline companies over in Europe or even Asia or the Middle East that would want a certain number of flight attendants that speak certain native languages or languages that are native to the area. That's not new, it's there. But if you're applying to the flight attendant position that specifically requires you to speak English, you have to be able to speak English. Whenever my airline company puts out a job posting specifically saying that they want flight attendants that speak Spanish, it means when you use that link for that specific application to apply, the expectation is that you can speak Spanish. So they typically create 2 different job postings for it. One that's general, whether you speak Spanish or not, you should at least be able to speak English. And then they have another job posting that is specifically for Spanish speaking applicants. Point number 4, you should be flexible. Flexibility in terms of your willingness to work during holidays, weekends, night, and odd hours or time. Odd hour would be you getting a call from crew scheduling at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. with the start time or show time of 6 or 7 in the morning, or 3 in the morning, or 4 in the morning. So you need to be flexible. You need to be willing to work on holidays. I know most of the time people will just assume that, oh, it won't be always the case. I might get some flexibility in between that. No, I would say, like, before I went in, everybody made me aware that assume that you're going to be working on holidays, like, period. Don't assume that. Fine, there might be flexibilities in between or moments where you can switch your work days for other days or swap with other people. There are so many options there in terms of dropping a shift or switching it out. However, do not assume that that's going to be the norm, because that is a privilege at the end of the day. So just assume that you will be working on weekends, you will be working at odd times in the day, you will be working on holidays, birthdays, weddings. Just assume that you won't have time for those things, or you're possibly scheduled for those things. Don't say I didn't tell you. That being said, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the case forever. But make sure you set your expectations very, very low. That way you don't end up getting what? Disappointed. That's the whole point. One thing I need to add is that they are very upfront in terms of these things. From the application to your in-person interview, to your online interview and your in-person interview, they stated every single step of the way, letting you know that, hey, you're going to be working on holidays, your schedule will be packed on weekends, you are potentially going to get odd hours and not the best trips. So they make it very clear from the beginning. But like everything else, seniority in this industry is very important. And like I said, like I was saying, like everything else, the longer you stay with a company, you prove your loyalty, the more beneficial it becomes to be with a company. Point number 5, you should be willing to relocate or live at base. The company that I applied to is a US-based airline company. So they have bases all over the US in several states, and even outside of the United States. So base essentially in the airline industry as a flight attendant or a pilot, it's where you fly out of. Let's say I am based at the Seattle airport because I live in Washington State, and I was assigned the base, which is the Seattle airport, which is SeaTac, right? It means no matter where I am in the world, I will fly. My job starts, like my clocking time starts at SeaTac, which is the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. So no matter where I am in the world, I can be living in Ghana, I can be living in Hawaii, I can be living in China, I can be living in Europe, London, Portugal, wherever I live in the world or I am in the world, my base or my starting point, my clocking time, my start of shift will be at SeaTac, which is a Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, because that's my base. With the airline company that I applied to, just because you're assigned a specific base, which is in this case or in this example, Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, SeaTac, doesn't mean that I have to live in the United States or I have to live near SeaTac in any way. But it is advised that you live at base. I can live in New York and still be based in Seattle. So what that means is that as long as when it's time for me to start work or go to work or my shift start, I'm in SeaTac, that's what matters. So they don't force you or require you to move to your base. So I believe Lufthansa, KLM, Emirates, and Qatar, they require you to live at base. So essentially, Emirates is based in Dubai, or at least has a base in Dubai. So if you work with that airline company, the expectation is that you're going to relocate to that location. That ties into a point that I did not, I have like a whole list here that I did not add to it. So since we're on number 5, please do your research. Make sure you're researching. Does the company require? That's why I didn't apply to certain companies, honestly, because I currently live in the United States, and where I am, I'm not ready to move or to relocate, even though I'm open to it, right? So I wanted to have more options in terms of the fact that even though I said yes, because when you're applying, like in the job description, they're going to include that you should be willing to move to any base assigned. You're not forced to do so, but it is recommended or advised that you move because it makes it easier for you to work or to go to work, to and fro from work, okay? And even when you're going through the application process, as part of the questions that you will be asked, that you're supposed to tick a box and say yes, you agree to. During the in-person interview, they're going to bring it up as well. You know, so it will be brought up several times. But for me, I said yes, I'm willing to relocate, I'm willing to live at base. However, because of how training and everything works together, it's hard to do that immediately. So let's say I live in Washington State. I live in Seattle. The airport closest to me is SeaTac, right? Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. And I went for my training and everything, and I got assigned a New York base. I live in Washington State. A flight from SeaTac to New York is about 5 hours, 5.5 hours. So even though it's far away from me, I can commute there. I can fly to work. But if I apply to an airline company that requires me to relocate right away, that might cause inconvenience for me. So I wanted to have more options and flexibility in terms of my ability to move. I might be based in New York, but I might choose to commute for a while before I permanently move there. Or I might wait it out and then apply for a transfer to an airport that's closer to me, which would be SeaTac, because it's in the same state as I am. And it's a few minutes away from where I live. That's the whole ideology behind it. And that's why it's very important. And sometimes the airline company you apply to might have bases in cities or countries that you don't want to live in, let alone work there. Point number 6, I will talk about citizenship. So some of the airline companies or some of the countries where airline companies are based do not require you to be a citizen of that country. The airline company that I applied to, you have to be a US citizen, unfortunately, at least with the application that I did. So you have to be a US citizen. But I know certain airline companies, because the one from Emirates, for example, that I almost applied to years ago, like almost 10 years ago, no, almost 7 years ago, that one did not require me to be a citizen of Dubai. No, I did not have to be. But yes, check the citizenship requirements. Are you required to be a citizen of that country or are you not? Because if you're not, then it gives you more options. I can be a US citizen, but I can apply to Emirates. I can be a Ghanaian, whichever country in the world, and I can still apply. So please be mindful of that. Point number 7, you should have customer service experience. The job requires interacting with people, right? So if you're not a people person not necessarily means that, oh my God, you like engaging, you like interacting, you're happy around people, blah, blah, blah. That's just pushing it because some of us are not like that. It's an act that we put up because the job requires it. So you don't have to be that naturally, but you have to be that for the job. So if doing that would be too much for you, then please look elsewhere. That being said, I'm not going to say that if you've never had a job before or a customer service job before, do not apply. Honestly, every job requires some level of customer service unless you're not interacting with anybody. As long as you're interacting with something, a customer, a client, it requires some level of customer service. So you definitely need some customer service experience before you apply. So keep that in mind. Point number 8 would be you should have no felonies and you should be drug-free. So that's just simple as that. Not to say anybody's discriminating or anything, disclaimer, no, but it's just that certain jobs have certain criteria, and at least for the company that I work for, to apply to be a flight attendant, you shouldn't have any felonies, and you should be drug-free. So whatever you do outside of during the application process, before the application process, it's fine, but with regards to the drugs, as of the time that you're applying and you're going through the process, you're expected to be drug-free. And when you're working, you're expected to be drug-free. That being said, nobody's testing you every single day. No job tests you every single day to make sure you're drug-free. However, what I do know is that they do random drug tests. And you never know when it's going to happen and who's going to get picked for it. So if you can't refrain from it, then I think you need to find a different occupation, essentially. Moving on to point number 9. Research the airline, their mission, and how diverse it is. With regards to the United States, for example, I specifically look for airline companies that are diverse in terms of the kind of people they hire. Let's just say they're willing to hire other minorities. One, I know there's a chance for me for getting hired or being discriminated against because of my race. So And then sometimes it's just your ability to feel comfortable because you can see other people like you there. So you know that if it's working for them, it would work for you. So that's the idea. It's about you feeling comfortable where you are, knowing that you can be you. I look for diversity in the companies who are hiring as well, what their mission are, like what is their main goal, what is their focus, what drives them. That counts, because that way, if it aligns with my mission or my goals, then we're like a symbiotic relationship between the two. And then you feel more comfortable, you're more driven when you're helping customers, or you're assisting customers, or you're engaging with customers that way. So that's how I see it. The 10th thing to consider before you apply to become a flight attendant is to get your resume ready. That's it. Get your resume ready. I have applied to several jobs, and there are some jobs that will pull from like LinkedIn or other job sites. The basic thing to do is to have your resume ready and properly done, embellished if possible. Just joking. But yes, you need to have a resume. I don't know how you expect to apply for a job without a resume, but you need to get a resume. You do not need a proposal or a cover letter. All you need is your resume, and that's it, just to start the application process. That sums it up for today's video, the 10 things you need to become a flight attendant. Please, my fellow flight attendants out there, if you do have any points to share or any additional points, please drop it in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you're someone who just applied and you're waiting for your interview, your in-person or event day, or you're waiting to get your CJO, wherever you are in the application process, I wish you all the best. You got this. Just be you and you should be good to go. Once again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And those of you who are watching, who haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I do not know what you're waiting for. But since you're here, go ahead and tap on that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel so that whenever I post a video, you get the notification. Hit that subscribe button, support your girl. Thank you for watching today's video. Once again, my name is Priscilla and I am signing out. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.